The Orbe-Chavornay line is a tiny strip of railway, just a bit less than 4 kilometers. But behind this seemingly insignificant distance lies a surprisingly rich history, shaped by audacity and industry. It began during the closing years of the 19th century. In Orbe, the rod mills were running at full capacity, but the town remained isolated from the network. The main railway line passed through Chavornay, a situation which meant that transporting goods had to be done by road, involving loading, transporting, unloading, and then loading, transporting, and unloading once again. This is a daily routine that unfortunately acts as a brake on all economic development in the region. Faced with this situation, a simple idea emerges. Connect Orbe by linking it to the main railway network. But that's where things get more complicated. The terrain's profile requires a steep incline when approaching Orbe, and the project quickly takes on a pioneering character. When the first trains began running in 1894, the line became one of the very first in Switzerland to opt for electric traction, an astonishing achievement at the time for such a short section, especially since the rest of the country was still mostly running on steam. The line very soon found its rhythm. It transported workers as well as various goods at the time from the newly established food factories and chocolate makers in the plain, and became an absolutely essential link between the valley and the rest of the canton. It managed to survive economic crises, 2 world wars, and competition from the road network. At times, people even thought it was doomed, but it always somehow managed to bounce back, driven by the deep local conviction that a direct rail link is simply better than a detour by road. At its peak in 2019, the line had 7 kilometers of industrial sidings, but only 3.9 kilometers of passenger lines. As such, the Orbe-Chavornay has never been a major line in the strict sense of the term, but its evolution over time, in its over 130 years of existence, shows that a small line can be vital for a region. It has been able to adapt up to the present day, even right now, when it is entering a completely new era.
Vieli Deria, a station master who has been retired for about 15 years now. At this station, we've had all sorts of things. We had the tourist office, which we set up here, and we started a travel agency in the station. People liked us, and folks would come from far away to book trips. We had a pretty good reputation, and we always had a great team at this station. We were well known in Orbe, and I think people really trusted us back then. But we also had the chance to do really some fun things that weren't necessarily related to the usual job. Travel agency, tourist office, that's not common in a train station, and we really enjoyed doing it. It's true that we enjoyed a level of professional freedom that I had never experienced at SBB. And seeing the end of this train is something that does affect you even just a little. A word about the train you can see here. It's a replica locomotive of rail car number 13, a self-propelled locomotive that ran for many years on the Orbe-Chavornay line between 1920 and 1980. Right here, it is in its original livery. I never saw it like this myself, I must say, but that really was the color they used at the time, which is quite striking. You can see it's clearly marked 3rd class. There were 3 classes on the railways until 1950. You can also see the difference in capacity. Most of the space was here in the smoking section, while the other part was non-smoking. Times have certainly indeed changed. And this was built by a neighbor who was an engineer at Paillard, a factory that existed in Orbe. He was incredibly hands-on, a real train enthusiast, and he built it piece by piece himself. Unfortunately, it can no longer run because it had a customized gauge. All I have left is this locomotive and a small section of track, and the rest has disappeared. But someone capable of building something like this that ran and still exists today, that's impressive.